Welcome to the new Romanian chapter. Congratulations that we start now with the new Romanian chapter. I'm Linda Strick from Cloud Security Alliance. I'm the Managing Director of CSA EMEA, and I will guide you through today's session. Let me introduce at first Elena Armstrong from CSA, our president, to give a few welcome words to the new chapter and to the founders of the chapter. Elena, the floor is you.
Thank you. Hi, how are you? I'm going to go ahead and just start a quick presentation. Let me move some of this over here. Just to give you some background on CSA, obviously, many of you are already quite familiar with CSA Global, but I thought it would behoove us all if I just shared a few quick updates, and then Linda Daniele, our CTO, will get into some of the programs in which you might find you are interested. So we'll just get started. So obviously, CSA, we've been around, we're celebrating our 15th year next year with a number of different activities, both here and I should say in the US and globally. But as you well know, we are a global nonprofit, very far reach. Everything that we do is founded on our research and our educational programs. We are working with a number of different entities to continue building best practices, frameworks, launching any number of initiatives and more. Right now, we have about 500 corporate members. We're looking at well over 185,000 individual members who are participating in our chapters like yours around the globe, or working with us as part of the contributors to our various research working groups. Right now, I think we have technically 30 active working groups. We are adding additional ones for our AI initiative, and I can talk a little bit about that in case anyone here is interested in getting more involved in some of those. I wanted to just talk about some of the challenges we're hearing from our members and from the wider industry when we're doing survey-based research. We released this report, Security-Enabled Innovation and Cloud Trends, back in August, I think it was. And we have been seeing very consistently organizations being challenged with a number of different problems that they're trying to address, certainly finding and hiring the right experts, training staff on multiple cloud platforms. That's been just a reoccurring problem since I've been here. I'm now moving into, I'm like 2.5 years here. And that's just continually cropping up as a top of mind issue for a lot of folks as they're continuing their cloud journeys. Also, this notion of integration and orchestration of multiple cloud services, especially as we're seeing more organizations adopt or have multi-cloud environments. I think one of the last surveys we did, we saw something like 87% of organizations now are contending with these multi-cloud environments, legacy systems, and how they can have that more holistic view and management. Costs are another thing, managing costs effectively. We've often heard that organizations, of course, are leveraging cloud services so that they can save money, but depending on how extensive their operations are, sometimes it can get a little out of hand on the flip side. And then it's this notion of effective resource allocation and just ensuring that they have consistent security and governance policies in place across all of these different platforms. These are some other quick trends, and just again, a sampling. The scope of research that we're doing is just crazy. We probably have close to 700 total research assets on the website, some of which are getting a lot more play than others. But we're on a monthly basis releasing reports, anywhere between 3 and 5 reports. The team is working with the research working groups, and they're quite prolific. But you'll see here, based on some of the sponsored research that we've done over the course of this year, for example, financial services, 57% are multi-cloud environments. They actually have regulated data in the cloud. And a heartening finding was that they are leveraging our cloud controls matrix and our consensus assessment and initiative questionnaire to ensure that they have the right security controls in place under those domains that are critical to cloud operations. I'm not going to go over all of these trends, and certainly I can make this presentation available to anyone who would want to check it out further, but it just gives you a smattering of some of what we're seeing over the course of this year. I thought this one was a good look going forward from ANISA. Many of these problems we're dealing with now, and I think every conversation I've had recently with some of my industry friends, as well as some of our members, the top question is about artificial intelligence. And that's one of the reasons why we've launched a very specific initiative regarding that. But then, they're still dealing with the same human errors, targeted attacks. And of course, as we go forward, we're going to see more of these. And then the other thing just call out, obviously, there are organizations being impacted by the economic tumult that we're seeing. I mean, there's a lot of happenings in the world that are certainly challenging in this regard, but there were, at least according to this survey, there were some CISOs who are seeing budget hikes since 2022. So bottom line, there's a lot going on. And I think that if you talk to any CISO or CXO, they might be pretty blunt and say it can be a bit of a challenge, sort of assessing all of the cybersecurity related issues out there, as well as the cloud issues. So what seems to be leading them as they're moving forward is some of the areas they need to focus on. They're looking at really prioritizing their different needs and goals. They want to be innovative, and they want to ensure that wherever they can, they're automating various and sundry practices. So this is where we step in as a vendor neutral, membership driven global nonprofit. We launched our AI safety initiative at the RSA conference in California earlier this year. It was a soft launch. And then at our September event, which happened in Washington State a couple of weeks ago, we organized an AI think tank day that engaged all of the major cloud providers, representatives and leaders from all of the major cloud providers, as well as the sort of frontier LLM organizations, to really help us. And then, of course, many of the enterprises they serve, to really help us understand some of the top areas that we should focus on for our AI safety initiative, and what sort of working groups we need to create. So we will be having some announcements shortly about some of those efforts. We have composed, or we're creating four research working groups associated with our AI safety initiative. And we're kind of following the same trajectory we did with cloud. When we first launched, there were a lot of organizations that just were not trusting cloud at all. Now look where we are. Cloud is ubiquitous. Artificial intelligence, from our perspective, is the most consequential technology that's hit. And so we just want to make sure that we're developing the appropriate frameworks, independent, vendor neutral frameworks, that we have training in place, that we also have some certification and attestation for the services that will be continually cropping up in this particular space. And that we're creating, different educational programs, as well as global in-person and virtual events. So that's really top of mind for the team and I right now. We also have our CXO Trust Initiative, and this is one where we're focusing on the C-suite and how different players, leaders, and organizations have to work together because cloud is foundational to most every operation on the globe at this point, right? So there needs to be more communication. The other effort, though, or the other goal associated with this initiative is to help facilitate more open communication between the providers, SaaS providers, as well as the hyperscalers and the enterprises they serve. We're also doing different types of research associated with our CXO Trust Initiative. And I think going forward, as we strategize for next year, this underpins all of these initiatives: the Zero Trust Advancement Center, the Financial Services Initiative, our AI Safety Initiative. There has to be a C-suite component that would include education, research, guidance for them as well. I've already talked about our research frameworks and guidance, and I'm sure you're very familiar with our professional training and certification, as well as the enterprise attestation that we enable through our STAR program. I'll mention that we have launched this year our Financial Services Initiative. So we're getting a number of different financial service organizations involved. We have a number of members who are looking for more specific guidance and education pertaining to some of the regulatory mandates that they have to deal with in that particular vertical. I would suspect that going forward, we will likely have a few more areas of focus when it comes to certain vertical markets, like healthcare, probably manufacturing. We're kind of talking about that right now to determine which one would come next. This just gives you a rundown of some of the things that we've released over the years since we first started. Obviously, foundational to our portfolio of research would be our cloud security best practices, which folks we update on a regular basis. And I often see individuals in the industry, as much as it's grown, we seem to know a lot of people in it. There's a lot of connection. I was talking to somebody about that the other day, but I'm seeing a lot of people continue to tout this, our security guidance as foundational to really understanding what executive leaders and their security teams need to consider when it comes to shoring up controls in their cloud environments. Obviously, our certificate of cloud security knowledge was launched right when we came into being. And now we're in the midst of creating still more educational offerings and certs. You can stay tuned for the launch of our certificate of Zero Trust Competence. I know I just messed that up, that acronym, but it'll be coming, be released in November during our Zero Trust Summit, virtual summit that we're having. So definitely stay tuned for more on that front. Obviously, we have forged a number of relationships. We have a number of industry friends who help us, just like all of you, support our different research groups and other goals. But we also can't do that or can't really undertake these various and sundry efforts without teaming with government entities, with other nonprofits, and other partners around the globe. And this is definitely a limited list, but it gives you a sense of all our buddies in the space. From our perspective, the vital products that we offer definitely are corporate membership, certainly chapter involvement and individual membership, and how those individuals can also contribute to the different free frameworks and research that we release. The STAR program is a big one, and it definitely helps to ensure for those looking for providers, it gives them this independent affirmation that the services they're looking at very, could fit their particular needs. Professional training, I mentioned, definitely our CXO Trust executive community, which is continuing to grow. And then, of course, our various events and research. Definitely known for our research. Our global VP of research is talking to another reporter today about some of that content. This just shows you a quick list of some of the recent reports that we've released that you may want to check out. And then the one thing that we're also looking to grow are tools to help organizations engage in their own tabletop exercises. We are working with DHS and some other government entities to be part of a cyberstorm exercise next year. We're only in the planning stages of that, but I thought it was pretty critical for CSA to get involved in that exercise. That also gets other governments and global organizations involved in I think it's a week long, if I'm remembering my participation in it a couple of years ago. It's a week-long exercise that really helps participants to understand where their plans are steadfast and strong, and where they need to fill some holes. And then, these are some of, I wanted to very quickly highlight for you with these two specific initiatives. We definitely have some activities that we're looking at for 2024. Right now, we are in the midst of partnering with Barclays and working with some other entities to on a cloud change notification project that is very important, given that oftentimes when the cloud providers roll out updates, it can impact operations for their customers internally. So that's something we're hoping to kick off if we can manage it the 1st of October and really talk about some of the priorities and some of the content we may wish to release. And then, there's some other members only content for both the CXO Trust Research Working Group. Oh, that should be financial services. I will correct that. As well as our community here that we want to begin launching in 2024. This shows you some of the events that we've had over the course of this year, including, of course, our RSA Summit. We already have a plan circulating for that. We will be focusing on AI for our CSA Summit, our RSA conference next year. And of course, celebrating our 15 years in the industry. The final event that we're having this year is our Zero Trust Summit, which I mentioned earlier. So definitely register for that. You can check out the agenda. It's on our site now. And then come January of next year, we're having another AI summit. We had so much positive feedback about the one we held in August, and it was so well attended that we thought it prudent to launch the new year with another one that will also give some highlights of what we're going to do at the in-person event at RSA conference. So this is some of the, benefits. This shows some of the benefits for corporate members in case any of you get questions regarding that. But that's a quick kind of rundown on where CSA is now. As I noted, we're definitely in the midst of planning for next year, and always are happy to talk to members of chapters, corporate members. So please don't ever hesitate to reach out, connect with me on LinkedIn. So thank you.
Thank you, Elena. So as Elena has to leave, she's very busy. So if there's any question you have at the moment, she is quite a couple of minutes here, let us know. If there's any question, you can put them in the chat or
let's see.
Nothing coming. No. So then I would say thank you very much, Elena.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you, Linda. And thank you, Larissa, for inviting me. And again, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm always happy to set aside some time to talk to you all. And I very much look forward to working with you over the course of next year. So thank you.
Super. Many thanks.
Many
Take
thanks,
care.
Elena. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
So that brings us to our next point in the agenda, which is that I will provide you with a short overview of some of our most prominent products. And I'm just trying to get this started. Yeah? Okay. Okay. So, as well as there is something Elena already mentioned beforehand, I just tried to bring you in a very short introduction to one of our most important products and services. So one thing is trust in cloud providers, and I know cloud is commodity today, but still there's a lot of countries which are just struggling and going into cloud. So still the security is a big issue on cloud. And so I like from our CEO, he has that slide. You might not be interested in cloud, but cloud is interested in you. So I think that cloud is everywhere. And even if you look now at AI, that will come even more into our focus. So that is.
Linda, if you agree, just make it full screen to be more clear.
Oh, it's not. It's. I see.
It's not. It's not full screen yet.
Oh, wait. Yeah. Sorry. Why it's not full screen? Wait. Now?
Perfect.
Thank you. I'm sorry.
No problem at all.
It looked like it was full screen. So going to the slide before, what you see, cloud is by default, so everyone has it. It's a lot of how you orchestrate within your cloud, if you do a private, a public, a hybrid cloud. And as cloud is everywhere, and looking at AI, then cloud is not only cloud security, but it's cyber security. So the point is always when you move to cloud, you have to think about a lot of things. So you have to develop a strategy. It's a lot of automation, more and more having security by design and by default, that you will look into zero trust. It's very important that you understand your threats and your risks. It might come in depending on the criticality of your infrastructure and your services, that you might go also ahead to go have a continuous monitoring and auditing, and to be aware that as an insurance, it's standard-based, and that you always have in mind it's always a multi-cloud and not only one cloud, because you have a lot of supply chain, you had a lot of different services from different cloud providers. So there's a lot you have to take into mind. So having said that, CSA has, and you saw that a bit earlier, developed some products. We have done some evaluations, looking how you make cloud more reliable and secure. There is a lot of thing that one says certification could be one point of making sure that you can trust a cloud provider. You have a lot of regulations coming in. We now have the NIS2 regulation in regulation, the and the cyber resilience in Europe. So we have to think a bit more on securing our products, securing our services, and also helping customers to understand how to evaluate the cloud offers. So that means it's a lot of understanding about compliance, about contractual liabilities. It's also with coming in with the regulations, and that it's also enforcing accountability a bit more, also for the customers, saying we don't want to have someone which is not secure enough. You have to find a language which is a whatever lingua franca or common language, where people understand everything about risk in the cloud, of facts, of requirements. And you might think also about how can you at best monitor continuously that the cloud provider offering a service is having its location where it says it has it. So there is a lot of different schemes, compliance schemes, what you can see. And there's not one fits all. There's not one solution for the whole world. Everyone is having its own views on it, its own and its additional national or international requirements, or its company policies which are put on those. So what we are doing then is we have tried to provide a framework that looks also into the realization of its shared responsibility model. So that's not, as you can say, as a cloud provider, I'm as a customer are not responsible. It's only the responsibility of the provider. It's a shared responsibility. That's what we learned by the GDPR, that it's not only one side which is responsible. What you need is also something which is in the global context, because the world is global and providers offer their products worldwide, and they don't want to adapt to this millions of different standards. So they want to see if that's on a global basis, where you can add additional ones if you like. Sorry, and that's the point that we have developed some tools. The cloud controls metrics, which was already mentioned beforehand by Elena. That's a framework for cloud security. It provides a catalog. We will see that later. A catalog of requirements and implementation of the requirements. We have the questionnaire, the assessment questionnaire for doing self-assessment. We have our STAR program. I will go into that a bit later. And we have a trust mark for cloud providers, which do either self-certification plus additional trainings where you can say this is a cloud provider who knows about the security issue. So starting with our STAR program, that is a certification framework based on the cloud controls metrics, having 3 different levels. The level of 1, which is a self-assessment. And that's the precondition for getting the STAR level 2, which is a third-party assessment. And STAR level 3 is a continuous assessment, which is still under development, but will be issued soon. And it's on test with different companies. So starting with the self-assessment, there's a lot which companies say, I don't believe in self-assessment, but at least if cloud provider is doing a self-assessment, they know about their security, posture. If you look at an enterprise which is looking at different cloud providers, they also can use the questionnaire for assessing any cloud provider, because they can look into that one and check if those requirements are met. That was launched in 2011, so there is a long experience, and that, as Cloud Security Alliance is a non-for-profit organization working with industry and standardization. It's a best practice example based on standards, and it's continuously improved. So we have done this end of last year, the version 4 of the cloud controls metrics. So there is always an ongoing activity, because there's everywhere coming out new threats, new vulnerabilities, new regulations, which then can be added to that one. So in general, everyone can look at our website and look at our registry and see which cloud providers have a star self-assessment or a star level 2 third-party assessment. And yes, it helps to provide transparency, and it also gives at least those who will use cloud service a bit that the cloud provider has accountability to their customers. So it has a couple of pillars. So the technical standards is based on the CCM. Then we have the open certification framework. That's the assessment portfolio, where always new assessments will be approved. We have the registry, where I will show you at the end how it looks like. We have a couple of tools which helps you to provide your self-assessment, which also helps third-party companies to provide the star level 2. Then we have also the trusted cloud consultants and providers. So whoever wants to help companies doing their star certification or their self-assessment could become a trusted cloud provider once members. So it's always based on membership. Dalina told you very quickly something about membership. And we have a couple of trainings which make sure that those people understand what they are talking about. Going back to the cloud controls metrics, as I said, it's quite a long time we have that. And it has not only the controls, but it has also the implementation guidance. It also has a guidance for auditors to know how to do it. And it describes in detail the metrics and the mappings. And it is also open, and that's an important part. You can look into that, and if you have national requirements which are more important to you and which are not covered in that framework, you really can look at those requirements which are important for you, and then add additional implementation guidelines or additional requirements by doing a gap analysis. It's a huge thing because it has 17 security domains and 197 controls. So you can see here, it covers a lot. I don't want to go into the detail of that. You can always see it, and it's always free downloadable from our website. And by the way, our CTO, Daniela, is a master of that and a lot responsible for making that happen. So thanks to Daniela. Then we have the cake. It has a lot of questions anyway. And that's more, that's two ways. One for cloud service providers to help them to understand where they stand in their security. But on the other hand, it helps also customers, users of cloud services, to assess the cloud providers, because they have as well the responsibility of security. It's not only on the provider side. So the cake looks a bit different because it's not how to implement it. It's a simple yes/no question. I always tell people when they ask me about self-assessment as cloud service provider to put more than yes/no into it, and to put a bit more of description into it, that it is easier for any cloud customer to decide whether that one is a trusted cloud provider or not. If you just have yes/no question, you might in addition have to assess that cloud provider again. The more questions, the more details you put into the questionnaire as a cloud provider, the easier it is for a cloud customer to identify if that meets their requirements. So what you can see already in the STAR registry, so we have 2,000 entries in the STAR registry, which is quite important, that you can see who's responsible, who has done their course, and you can also look at the self-assessment or respectively at the certifications. So why people are doing STAR, and what I see is in Europe there are more and more people coming also to a STAR certification. That is because ENISA still is not finalized their certification framework, cybersecurity certification framework, and people see there's a need that they demonstrate that they have done their work and that they have done their security and provide secure services to customers. And that's always a benefit to demonstrate that you are compliant with something, that you can also for yourself prove that you have the right level of security. And transparency is one of the very big points that people can see. What are you doing? What are the partners doing? And transparency helps better to understand what's behind it, and it helps being part of the STAR registry. It helps really other companies to see there is a trusted cloud provider. I can take that one because it has shown it's following the security rights. There are some marketing benefits as well for everyone as a cloud service provider being part of that registry. So you can do marketing, and that's what I see what a lot of companies do as well at the moment. So what you see, and that's what I wanted to show you, so you can look at our website, so you can check for the STAR registry, so you see what they have. So they have, for example, Google has the self-certification, they have the third-party certification, and they are also a trusted cloud provider. They follow the rules, they have done some courses, they have provided the respective data. So there is a lot of others. There's just here a very simple example to see every one of the big companies have done that, and there is a lot more to see. As I said, we have more than 2,000 entries there. In order to help you, there are two ways. One is certification, one is attestation. I don't want to go into detail on the difference, but if you look at some companies who help you to do certification or attestation, there's also a huge list we have, which accredited to do our STAR certification or STAR attestation. What else is very important? So from our products, what we see is it's very important that people understand where are the security risks, what I have to do, what I have to provide, how can I make sure that I comply with legislation, etc. So we have then, these are the two big programs. That's the Cloud Security Knowledge Training, the CCSK training. So as a member of a chapter, you will get a discount for the training. We have the Certificate of Cloud Auditing Knowledge. This one comprises also the governance model and the details of the cloud controls metrics to better understand if we're doing internal or external audits, which is for some companies mandatory. Other big companies do it because they want to do it. Also, the CCSK has been elaborated over the time to do new versions. We have instructor-led trainings or self-paced trainings. We have also a platform if your company wants to get a lot of those trainings. You can also ask us. So we have quite big companies having done 200 trainings, and we have a platform which can be included also into your training platform if you have one. The Certificate of Cloud Auditing Knowledge we do together with ISACA. That's also self-paced or instructor-led trainings. So what else we have, and that was what Elena was mentioning beforehand, it's Zero Trust trainings. We start with a couple of first ones, so that's not complete. So we have now the full set ready by next month. This is just for you as a backup, so what you can see what it has, what is inside the basic CCSK training. So it focuses really on more technical than strategic. But it's very important for people working in the security area that they have at least an understanding about virtual environments, about where the threats are and how it's working. It's 16 hours virtual trainings, and you have 90 minutes to 50 questions. It's doable at the end if you have done the training. And it depends. Some people like online, some people like instructor-led trainings, but we offer both. What adds the STAR program to your security system? So, as I said, the STAR program is one of our biggest assets. It reduces risks. It shows compliance. It's within and without the organization. It provides a common view on where the security issues are. It can improve also the internal and external communications. The point is it avoids duplication, what you very often have within the company as you have different groups talking and working together with several threats. You can make it as a common goal for all. It provides conflict, it resolves conflicts, and it provides transparency and assurance, and it's a harmonization, and it trains staff and the development groups very well. When you want to discuss some of those things or to go into more details in some parts. What you can do is we have a huge community. You can join the community as an individual. So as you have seen, we have a lot of individual members, and you can join in Circle as an individual member and join any working group you like. Be aware that this always means that you might also have to work a bit. You can start with listening, but it makes more sense if you're working, then you will be also part of the community, your voice will be here. These are the different working groups we have. That's also a lot. I don't want to go into these details, but you can see them from our website. I will provide the slides later on so that you can have a view which is the best working group for my purpose I want to join, and I want to listen to the community and experts who have something to say. What is this? We have a lot of documents, and I want the guidance is something which is like a Bible for our training. But I want also to mention the top threats. I heard from some companies, and I found it interesting that they use the top threat, which is coming out yearly. They use it to talk to their CSA bosses, to their board, also discussing that, and it's very helpful also to avoid those things in companies. So that's quite nice thing what you can do. I would like to thank you, and if you have any questions, please let me know. And I try now to go back and I have to skip. So I want now to go back to the journal thing, and
If anyone has questions, just raise the hand and Linda will try to answer.
there isn't any question, which means we go now to the next one. Misha, you are already there. I give the floor to you to introduce your chapter. Congratulations, by the way. And yeah, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Linda. Thank you, Elena. Also, just left us. It's a new way. It's a new chapter, Romanian chapter, part of CSA Global. So nothing more about me. I'll let my colleagues to introduce themselves and to say some words. And I'll start with Larissa. Larissa, please.
Hello, everyone. Happy to be here together with you. Thank you for the introduction and also for the presentations to our colleagues from Cloud Security Alliance. This is a very interesting community to be part of. Very dynamic, as you've seen from the presentation from Milena and from Linda. And what we're trying to build here in Romania is a similar type of dynamic community to try to cooperate together in order to enhance the collective knowledge in terms of cloud security. And you'll see in the upcoming weeks and months various calls for speakers or calls for participants to white papers from our side. And of course, do explore the resources that Linda and Elena mentioned. For instance, I especially liked the idea about working groups. They are very useful, very practical, very hands-on. So we encourage you to explore them and to be part of the Cloud Security Alliance family, let's say.
Thank you so much, Larissa. we'll do the best to contribute in working groups. Actually, I say a member, old member in one of them, DevOps, and we'll try to contribute and the others, the other groups. Graziela.
Sure. Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me, and thank you for the invitation of being close to you today for the launching of the CSA Romania chapter. Not too many things about me. Hopefully, my 8 years volunteering experience in the community will be valuable for you. And as you know, I'm a huge fan of connecting people, supporting anything which relates to education and raising awareness. So I'm happy to be with you.
Thank you so much, Graziela. Victor?
Good evening. Thank you very much for inviting me and for this great opportunity to open a Romanian chapter. Larissa did it excellent, so nothing more to say about what we are intending to do. I hope that my experience in information security and in management, in governance will be added value for this group. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Victor. Catalin?
Yeah, hello everybody. Thank you for having me here, and glad to be part of CSA Romania chapter and also of the community CSA. I'm mostly assigned on the technical part, currently working as a cloud specialist, where I do support various teams for our employee around the world. So what can I say? That I will try to do my best to support the community on the cloud area. Thank you once again for inviting me to be part of your team.
Thank you so much, Catalin. Members, colleagues, close friends, members of board of CSA, part of members of board of CSA Romania that are together today with us and with you, and thank you so much, all of you that spent from your time to be next to us. Linda, if you like to introduce Daniel, please.
Yes, I will. So thank you. Thank you all for being part of that. And in any case, if you have any questions in the next few weeks or so, you can always reach me. Always see if I can help in the Romanian chapter. So let me know, and I wish you all the best.
This board chapters, new chapter. It's in your side also. You made a great effort and hold the CSA global team. So we thank you also to all of you.
Thank you. So then let me introduce Daniele Catedou, our CTO and the inventor of the STAR CCM program. Daniele, the floor is yours.
Hey, thanks, Linda. Hi, everyone. So first of all, congratulations for this new endeavor. I mean, it's like, I really hope it's going to be extremely successful. Now, I might say that I don't know, most of you. I know indirectly Larissa because, your name popped up a few times in my conversation with Michaela Jorga at NIST, which I know is a good friend of yours. So certainly, as I'm assuming both Elena and Linda has mentioned already, there is from our side the intent to support you at our best. Despite my role is a global role, my initial journey in CSA has been, being basically the managing director for the EMEA region, the role that Linda is currently covering. So I have had a lot of interactions with chapters in the past, and I feel especially close to all the European chapters since I'm based in Europe, in Finland, even though I'm Italian. And certainly I would want to keep on supporting you in any way I can possibly do. I had prepared a presentation for you, but I can anticipate that several all of the topics that I was going to cover has been already mentioned by Linda. So my intention was to give you a bit of kind of overview over the STAR program that, as Linda has mentioned, I've been the founder of, and then give you also a bit of overview around some of the training activities, which is another area under my responsibility, and then to kind of close up with a bit of a discussion around zero trust that seemed to be one of the hottest topic together with AI within the industry. I will, go through that content anyway, hoping to add some additional details that were not covered already. But at any time, kind of feel free to interject or to ask any questions. I really don't bother to be interrupted. So let me share my screen. Can you see it?
Yes, we can see. Just make it full screen.
Of course, I will.
Perfect.
Right. So I guess that this is something that has been already mentioned already by Alina and Linda. Something that certainly I would like to highlight because that's going to be never enough. Is there are two things really. One is an extreme focus for anyone around the shared responsibility model. I will repeat that until everyone is bored. And the reason why so is that many of the issues, incidents that we see in the cloud security space are directly related to the misunderstanding of the shared responsibility model. This is something that is like extremely simple in theory, but it looks like it's one of the most difficult concepts to apply. The basic reason why it is so is because people tend to, or many organizations, especially smaller organizations, tend to approach cloud computing very lightly, as in pretending that by outsourcing or buying services, they are outsourcing not just the responsibility, but also the accountability around what they are supposed to do, which of course is not true, as in you can outsource a good part of your responsibilities, yes, indeed, but nobody is going to be in the position to outsource the accountability. So ultimately, it's going to be up to you as user and consumer of cloud services to apply that level of due diligence that is very much needed whenever you want to measure the level of trustworthiness of a cloud service. The other issue there is also related to the complexity of the cloud landscape. So as you have perhaps noticed, more and more we hear or it has become a kind of common practice to talk about multi-cloud. This is especially true in the financial sector, where due to an issue of concentration of risk, due to issue of avoiding vendor lock-in, companies are requested to use a multi-cloud approach. When I say multi-cloud, I'm specifically referring to the idea of using more than one infrastructure providers. Now, each one of those so-called hyperscalers, so AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, they are ecosystems of their own. So they have different language, different internal tools, thousands of different products and services. And in order to apply a multi-cloud, really multi-cloud approach, you need to be proficient and expert in many of the approaches and configuration of each one of those cloud service providers, with that is typically not doable for many organizations, which means that they tend to overlook to some of the responsibility they are meant to take ownership of, and in some cases they don't even understand, precisely what those responsibilities are. The good news is that at CSA we've been very cognizant of this issue, and we are doing quite a lot of work around the shared responsibility model. I think Linda has already mentioned that, but my team is currently working on a new guideline on the shared responsibility model in order to better detail within the context of the cloud control framework, cloud control metrics, what are the distributions of responsibility across the different actors. Another term, another trend that is very top of mind, certainly for the for CISO and anyway practitioner, is the keywords of resilience. Again, that is also, part of many especially European legislation. So we have, I guess that many of you is familiar with DORA for the financial sector, but not just that. I mean, many of the current legislation, they point to the need of building a resilient infrastructure, which means in many ways having a good understanding of the evolving threat vectors that we have out there, and the building of a proper set of of controls that are going to put you in the position to better govern cloud. The other key point that I wanted to highlight here in this list is the one of automation. Given the level of adoption of cloud, the complexity of the situation, I guess it became very clear to everyone that an approach based on manual security is not scalable. It simply wouldn't work. And additionally, it is going to expose organizations to human errors, which has become more and more an issue there, both in terms of misconfigurations or poor configurations, but also relates to lack of basic hygiene and lack of basic understanding of terms that definitely in many cases lead to the problem of social engineering. So applying automation, which means in essence leveraging the capability of a cloud native environment, is going to be key. The so-called concept of shifting security left, so making sure that we are embedding controls directly into the DevSecOps or DevOps pipeline, in the CI/CD pipeline, is going to be key in order to kind of code within your infrastructure that set of controls that are going to be necessary for your protection. All right, that seems that it doesn't work. All right. Now, some of the kind of trends that we have seen more and more apparent in 2023, and I'm sure are going to be also the 2024 kind of key trends, are certainly zero trust, which is something that are going to spare a few words towards the end of this presentation. Finally, an approach toward a passwordless environment. So we all know how painful and how critical and how rich of issues has been the world of passwords. So the idea of slowly moving towards passwordless approach, passkey has been that technology that many of us are starting to use. Is certainly a good way to bypass the pain point of password. I mentioned multi-cloud earlier on. Certainly, of course, as we mentioned, the idea of cloud native solution, it's impossible not to refer to containers and serverless. This is kind of the evolution that cloud has taken in the last 7-8 years. So this blurring of the boundaries of what used to be a clear distinction between infrastructure as a service and platform as a service that are kind of merging together and often with the purpose of offering to the end user functions. So the idea of function as a service is what is kind of replacing the old jargon here. SaaS security is always top of mind for all of us. The reason it's pretty clear. Many organizations consume in the order of thousands of different SaaS applications, and the governance of them is becoming really problematic. What we found really problematic, and what we hear a lot of our members, especially those members that in theory are supposed to be the most sophisticated, like consumer of cloud services, like financial sector institutions, that are confronted with one issue, which is out of the thousands of SaaS applications that they use, the majority of them, they are low risk profile. They are very, they treat non-sensitive data. They are often used by a small subset of their user population. Nevertheless, they need to be part of their due diligence program. So they don't want to spend too much time into the evaluation of those SaaS services, but still they need to maintain the necessary level of governance. So there, what we are trying to do as CSA is to try to optimize the process of evaluation. And I'm going to mention later on the Cake Lite that we recently launched. We see a kind of an exponential interest towards confidential computing, which is possibly not yet a mature technology, or it is, but is still kind of reserved to those organizations with a high level of maturity within cloud. But that is going to be the answer to many of our problems there. And then finally, the other point that I would like to mention is concern the supply chain, because as we have seen in the last couple of years, supply chain attacks are the main root cause for cyber incidents. Linda referred back to our top threats, which, by the way, as a small correction, is a paper that we publish every 2 years. So it's a biannual investigation that we do. And always supply chain is kind of on the top of one of the main root causes for incidents. The reason, again, is pretty straightforward. With the complexity that we mentioned earlier on, the issue related to the shared responsibility model, lack of training, make out of the supply chain a very very often a low-hanging fruits for attackers, because they simply need to kind of they need to get into the less secure member of the supply chain to get at the bottom of it. And then again, in here, the concept of zero trust is going to be a fundamental countermeasure. Linda mentioned a lot about STAR, so I don't think there is much else to add, unless there are any specific questions that you guys have for me. And feel free to ask any questions, really. Otherwise, you're going to assume that all of you is very proficient on STAR, and then later on are going to send you a few questions to verify that that's the case. I'm joking. All right, no questions around STAR. Something that, though, perhaps hasn't been covered in what it was said so far is the fact that the idea of STAR is to move towards the concept of continuous assurance. continuous control monitoring and continuous control auditing. Currently, as Linda mentioned, we got essentially two ways in which we verify through the STAR program the level of trust and assurance of cloud services. One is a self-assessment. The second one is a third-party evaluation. There, the two, we got two different flavors, as already noted. One is called STAR certification. The other one is called STAR attestation. The reason why we got two different approaches to third-party audit is very simple. I guess that many of you is aware that in the market there are two leading auditing standards. One is ISO 27001. The other one is SOC 2. Each one with its own right, being a top-notch approach to auditing. So when we established the STAR program, the idea I was pushing for is to kind of build on the shoulder of the giants. So not to throw away what already existed and worked very well, but just adapting those certification and attestation approaches by injecting what they were short on, so the cloud specificity. And in fact, STAR certification is nothing else than ISO 27001 with an overlay of the cloud control matrix controls. Similarly, STAR attestation is a SOC 2 attestation with the addition of the CCM controls on the top of the ICPA trust and service criteria. Now, from level 2, which is a pretty good approach to assurance, but still with some limitation, as in they are so-called point-in-time certification. They give you a snapshot of the situation. They don't give you an understanding of what the situation is going to look like in, let's say, 1 minute after the audit. And being cloud so dynamic and in many cases so ephemeral and subject to so frequent changes, then it is necessary that we move towards an approach to continuous assurance, because depending on the level of criticality of the service that you are buying, you want to make sure that whatever you are using is safe for you, it's secure for you at the point of consumption, not 6 months ago, not 1 year ago, not 3 months ago. We mentioned already CCM, maybe some recent and ongoing projects that concern STAR and CCM. So there is the shared responsibility model that I have already mentioned. Currently, the guideline is on draft, and you guys seem to be very eager to contribute. There is an opportunity for an early access and review of that guideline. I mentioned earlier on the concept of CCM Lite. So CCM Lite is nothing else that the definition of a set of controls that are core within the CCM. CCM has 197 controls. We carve out 91 controls that we believe are those controls that represent the minimum foundation for anyone to use. No matter what your level of sophistication, level of maturity, risk exposure, risk profile, those 91 controls need to be applied by anyone. If someone is not applying those controls, you better do not business with them, just to be clear. So that is something that, especially in perhaps less mature market, is something that you might want to push for. Another important step towards the improvement of the CCM is the release of the machine-readable version of the CCM, because up until now, CCM is very cool. It's something I'm very proud of, but in its standard form, it's a spreadsheet, which is like last century's technology. If we want to move towards automation, we need to have something that can be used as a code. And that's why the beauty of a machine-readable version of CCM available in JSON, YAML, and OSCAL. Something else that I would like to mention is also the fact that On the privacy side, so STAR is not just about cybersecurity. It has also an important, area coverage for privacy. And CSA has been working for quite some time to get a solution for GDPR compliance. Soon we are going to announce a partnership with an organization called EU Cloud Code of Conduct that has already an approved code of conduct for GDPR compliance. When I say approved, it means that it has been approved by the European Data Protection Board. As a result of this partnership, essentially, you're going to be able to see within our STAR registry also a reference to organization that managed to get this seal of compliance via the EU Cloud Code of Conduct. Other interesting stuff to mention, perhaps, is also some recent mapping that we have performed. The last one has been with the PCI DSS version 4. The concept of mapping, so just a reality check. How many of you guys is very familiar with CCM, the cloud control metrics? I can't say exactly how many, but something that perhaps is worth mentioning is the fact that CCM is not just a set of security controls. In it has a lot of other features, including the one of mapping. Mapping as in the association between the controls of the cloud control metrics with other standards, to the purpose that Linda was mentioning before, which is reducing the overlap between multiple compliance framework out there. So if you need to comply with several standards, we want to make sure that you are optimizing that approach by creating the right connections between your framework of reference, which is cloud control metrics, and all the others, so that you can understand how a control in cloud control metrics relates to a control in ISO 27001 in PCI DSS, for GDPR, and in other, several other standards that you can see in the spreadsheet. Something else that I wanted to mention is that the work that we are doing with within the STAR program is not done in isolation. It's very much done with the collaboration with a lot of other organizations. And this is a list of the ones that we have been more closely working on recently. One is the Israeli Cybersecurity Directorate, with whom we have a partnership for the adoption of CCM within the Israeli private sector. The Italian Cybersecurity Agency, which has adopted STAR as the foundational program for national procurement. So in Italy, essentially, if you want to enroll within, if you want to offer services to the Italian public administration, or if you are under the group of critical infrastructure providers, you need to comply with STAR. And then there is also a long list of other organizations. The Singaporean Cybersecurity Agency, the day before yesterday, there's been a big announcement from them, because there's been a collaboration between us, my team, and the Singaporean Cybersecurity Agency for the creation of a guideline for educate the market, which I suspect is something that we can share with you. Is going to be, I guess, very relevant for the Romanian market as well. And then collaboration with the BSI Germany, with NATO, which again is using CCM as a foundation for their directives, and many others. Now, Linda already covered that, so no need for me to overlap. And I wanted to, as I mentioned several times, Zero Trust, maybe I would like to spend few words on it. So first of all, Zero Trust, just to avoid any misunderstanding, is a strategy. Has nothing to do with technology and products. So whoever is approaching you, trying to sell you a technology that is Zero Trust, the solution for Zero Trust, that's possibly not true. Which doesn't mean that technology is not going to play a big part in the implementation of that Zero Trust strategy, but that is not the key to it. The key to it is what I'm showing here, is the strategy, is the necessary cultural shift that it has to happen within an organization. The cultural shift basically is going to embrace the principle of evidence-based trust, applying skepticism to any decision you're making whenever you're assessing the need of someone to have access to your information. And of course, the other key pillars apologies for that, around zero trust are the idea to enforcing foundational principles of cybersecurity, which are need to know and least privilege. So making sure that you are reducing to the bare minimum the need to access to information. And the other key idea also is to switch the approach from a monolithic approach to cybersecurity to asset-centric. The idea of building security not from the inside, from the outside in, but from the inside out. So you start building security around your asset, starting obviously from what is more critical. And in terms of general recommendation, of course, there is the need to educate. Being a cultural shift, there is the need to educate the board, the executive, your workforce, and essentially show benefits that are going to incentivize what is a natural resistance to this new cultural shift. Because the moment you're going to start discussing with your internal team and saying, you need to change the way in which you're doing, for instance, asset management, or more importantly, identity and access management, certainly you're going to find some resistance. And those resistance need to be, broken down via education and incentive. In terms of kind of few recommendation around how to implement a strategy for zero trust, first and primarily, I think it's important to understand that zero trust is about risk management. It's about understanding how to apply the necessary level of access to information based on the risk that each one of that pieces of information has with it. Then, of course, you need to understand your needs, your current state, and your goals. I mean, that's pretty obvious. And then there is a determination of the key assets that you want to deal with. Those are in many ways referred to the concept of protect surface, which is nothing else than what you need to protect. Then you need to determine what is the set of entities, both humans and non-humans, that are involved in the data flow, which is the other big part of this exercise. So mapping the data and the transaction flow to understand how each user or entity is getting from A to B. Then, of course, you're going to build your architecture, implementing the right model for you, defining the policy, and so on and so forth. But again, the key there is to be agile and keep on educating your workforce. And then quickly, I would like to mention a few things that are happening in the space of zero trust in the other part of my team that is dealing with training and education. So as it was already mentioned, we have been releasing a few training modules on zero trust, and we are planning to release on the 15th of November the certificate of competence in zero trust, which is going to be an important milestone for CSA, as that's going to be our credential on zero trust. And we really hope that via the Romanian chapter, we're going to be able to kind of push the certification out, and hopefully you're going to get that too. And then, a bit of other interesting, like short trainings that we have developed. We got container and microservices fundamentals, part 2. We got a series of training on DevSecOps, container lifecycle management, and then, as mentioned already by Linda, we recently also released a training on top threads. And then soon we're going to make also available an intro training on AI. So with that, I think I should be kind on time. Hopefully, well, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Otherwise, you should have my email. So feel free to reach out to me. I can see there is an hand raised.
Yes, we have one question. I'll
Graziela.
unmute the person. Graziela.
Graziela, you may put the question.
Yes, thank you. Sorry for not opening my camera anymore. I switched to mobile. So, Daniel, thank you very much for the presentation. I would have many questions, but the first one, I would address two. The first one, it will be based on your experience, how long it will take for an organization to run the first assessment, and second, how long is the journey for, let's say, a medium maturity level of an organization in terms of security? Of course, would be to reach an effective shape, an effective level against CSA framework.
Yeah. So Graciela, you're posing me an almost impossible question to answer. No, as in many cases here, the answer is it depends on, from where you start. So the level of maturity from where you're starting from. So if the question is starting from basically a situation of, very low level of maturity, in order to get through the cake self-assessment, it might take few days just to kind of go through the questionnaire. The exercise of filling in the questionnaire or going through the CCM is also a good way to measure where you are in that journey, right? Because if you start realizing that you are missing some fundamental pieces of the puzzle, then maybe there is a lot of homework to do. The release of the CCM Lite, I guess, is kind of a stepping stone in that direction. So I would certainly recommend those less mature organizations to start from there, because as I mentioned, those are fundamental pieces of security hygiene. If you don't have those in place, it means that your case is quite desperate, or at the very least, you got a lot of work to do. So certainly, my recommendation is start from there and then build a realistic plan in order to improve. We are going to release fairly soon version 2 of Cloud Security Maturity Model, which is a collaboration between CSA, the Jans Institute, and a company called Securosis. By the way, the same approach to maturity has been used by a number of agencies within the European Commission. And that is a very good way in order to kind of design your journey into the cloud security space, and a good way to kind of slowly kind of build your expectation and try to get where you are supposed to.
Thank you so much, Daniel. Graziela, if you don't have any question.
No, I'm fine.
Thank you so much, Graziela.
Anybody
else?
Feel free to reach out at any time.
Yes,
I
and
do not
use
guarantee an immediate response, but I will certainly.
Yes, and use Daniel's email, no problem at all, or the email of any CSA Romanian chapters members, and we'll do the best to answer to your question. For now, I want to give the floor to one really close friend of mine and cybersecurity expert of Orange, which has an interesting presentation. Daniel, if you want to stop sharing, Ioan, please, the floor is yours. I know that you are in a hurry and you had passion to.
We'll make do with the time that's left of the meeting. Thank you, Mircea. Thank you for having me. It's great news that the CSA chapter, the local CSA chapter is finally opening. Thank you for having me again. It's great to be part of this kickoff event. I'm going to go over some of the things that Orange Romania is doing in the field of innovation and research in cloud native and beyond 5G networks, which is, I know that is not necessarily a topic of discussion, a common topic of discussion, specifically the beyond 5G stuff, but I think that it will be. I hope that will be interesting for the audience. I'm going to share my screen. You should now see.
Perfect.
Great. An important topic among the speakers earlier today was innovation, and innovation for the sake of security, not necessarily for the sake of innovating. I have a few subtopics I'd like to address in the next 10 or 15 minutes. And summing it up, I'll discuss some of the things that we at Orange Romania are doing in our beyond 5G ecosystems. But first, I have to go through to the process of defining who we are. Orange Romania is the largest telecommunication provider in our national landscape, and we are one of the key players in managed services, cloud services, cybersecurity services, what have you. We consider ourselves to be as cloud native as one could be, as a company could be, as a better part of our product portfolio is actually enabled from and offered from various cloud environments. We offer infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, solution as a service, everything as a service solutions for our business customers, from flexible computing to private cloud, public cloud environments based on OpenStack, on VMware. We offer some very advanced disaster recovery capabilities from a cloud, in a cloud, and from a cloud environment. And of course, we are one of the largest managed security solutions provider in Romania through our business internet security services catalog. It's security as a service, essentially, with virtual everything, virtual firewalls, virtual web application firewalls, anti-DDoS, EDR, XDR, managed detection and response, email security, exposures management, whatever the business need is for cybersecurity. I'm pretty sure that our service catalog is more than capable of delivering. Circling back to innovation and technology transfer, one thing that may surprise to some extent a part of the audience is that we are doing a lot more than just offering some of the best telecommunication services and some of the best cloud and cybersecurity services out there. We are a key player in the European innovation programs and European innovation activities. We are one of the avid supporters of education through technology transfer in Romania. And we, of course, do our best to accelerate the business potential of great ideas through acceleration and through experimentation. To this extent, we provide, and we have been providing to students in the largest technical universities of Romania, the Orange Educational Program, for some 24 or 25 years now. Most of my colleagues are alumni of OEP, and this program enables talented people in the technical universities of Romania to master their skills and knowledge by having hands-on access to state-of-the-art and beyond state-of-the-art technology. We've started with this partnership with the Electronics and Telecommunication School of Polytechnical University of Bucharest, and we are now present in at least 10 large universities of Romania. Moving further, our research and innovation activities are can be rounded up to some of the projects that we are part of. We are a 10-year participant in many Horizon Europe, Horizon 2020, Digital Europe program, the National Resilience program projects, mostly on the next generation networks, cybersecurity, improving the resilience of critical infrastructure providers or critical infrastructure operators. this participation enables us to remove the barriers between research-based innovation and actually delivering technology through innovation. We are, as of today, part of at least 15, that's 15 ongoing projects on in different consortia on Horizon Europe, on Horizon 2020, and Digital Europe program pillars. And we strive to deliver the next in line when it comes to technology. Orange 5G Lab is our flagship experimentation facility in Romania. It is a venue enabling innovation and experimentation in beyond state-of-the-art network ecosystems. Essentially, it's a laboratory developed in partnership with Polytechnical University of Bucharest for the Bucharest location, and with Gheorghe Asaki Technical University of Iași for the Iași lab. We are working to open a third lab in one of the other large university cities of Romania. Orange 5G Lab was a stopgap flagship innovation for us, in the sense that it has allowed us, and it continues to provide us with valuable knowledge and access to great ideas, great designs, and great architectures, and permits us to experiment and to develop the next generation of services and products for our customers. And finally, Orange Fab is a one-year startups acceleration program managed in-house and near-house from Orange Romania. It kind of fills the gap in this entire innovation and technology transfer ecosystem from idea to design to experimentation to actual product. And it connects startups, scale-ups, various small and medium companies, enterprises wanting to promote their ideas, wanting to develop and to test their ideas to our very large portfolio of business partners. The Orange 5G Lab, well, this has been a stepping stone for us in experimentation and in building on the subset of technologies that are now defining 5G networks. The Orange 5G Lab is the venue that allows us to move beyond 5G towards the next generation of networks and to experiment on topics and domains such as edge IoT continuums, multi-domain beyond 5G networks, the various federated cloud-based cybersecurity mechanism and such. We believe that it is going to have a very consistent impact when it comes to delivering technology through innovation in our national and local markets. And our belief is actually supported by some of the findings from a Orange Group research, and just some of the key facts about these technologies is that more than 80% of the companies in Romania believe that 5G, to some extent, will improve their business operations. I think this is critical for us to further develop and to further diversify our capabilities and our technologies. The Orange 5G Lab will essentially allow anyone, be it a student, a startup, or a large enterprise partner, to design, develop, and test your cloud-native 5G native applications. We provide the knowledge and the output, the deliverables of our research and innovation projects through the 5G Lab. We provide webinars meant to demystify the 5G and beyond 5G technology. We provide a lot of technology, like hands-on tech from various startups, vendors, and of course, open source infrastructure enabling software. And we are now engaged in 18 pilots and proof of concepts inside these labs, ranging from various use cases of vehicle to vehicle, vehicle to anything communications, video analytics, audio analytics, the AI-enabled text transcription, anything that can be done, it's on the table. We are very proud of having developed this very ambitious concept of having a venue for experimentation and testing for network applications. Some of the projects, some of the research projects we are part of, and this is we were part of, because some of these projects are actually finalized, are archived now. It's just a few of the many, but this slide is meant to give you an idea of our involvement in research and innovation for the sake of enabling and developing technology. We've started with maybe 1 or 2 focused projects on some really close to the business side of things, needs of Orange Romania. We've expanded and added capabilities and knowledge to our portfolio, and we are now tackling and working hands-on with concepts that will, at a given moment, will probably be part of the 6th generation of mobile networks. We are currently working in several Digital Europe program calls on capacity building, on various aspects of cloud security or operational security. And we are, of course, engaged in many other proposals, which we hope that can reach a grant agreement at some point. One such project, and this is I hope the more hands-on part of my presentation. It's rigorous. This is a project that started in January this year, January 2023. It's a 3 years project in a multinational consortium of some 9 or 10 partners across 8 countries. And what we are looking to achieve here, the ambition here, is to secure the design and deployment of trustworthy continuum computing 6G services. This is a highly cloud-enabled federated deployment of services across a edge, cloud, and IoT continuum. We are trying through this project to bridge together some concepts that are, as of now, in their state-of-the-art function, separated domains such as edge computing or mobile edge computing, cloud, and the Internet of Things. And we are trying to add all the fundamental technology in a continuum that can be managed, orchestrated, secured through this holistic smart services framework, which relies heavily on AI-driven orchestration, management of trust, automated deployment, automated scaling, intelligent deployment, and of course, detection and mitigation of various threats. We are focused on delivering a human-centric DevSecOps platform because we are trying to deliver a framework and software components that can be easily integrated in a DevSecOps paradigm or SecDevOps paradigm. And we are looking to demonstrate the ambitions of this project in a set of industry relevant use cases and in operational environments. We, Orange Romania, are the owners of such a use case. We are trying to prove that this platform, the rigorous platform, can indeed manage the detection, response, and post-incident activities in an automated AI-enabled way across the kill chain for some very low-level threats against beyond 5G telecommunication infrastructures. This project and our continuous research and development in this notion of edge cloud and IoT continuum will rely, and actually relies on having a formal modeling for onboarding and for providing privacy to the various components that are part of this continuum. We are developing and we are now testing a AI-based orchestrator across some of our network segments that can manage the requirements of a given policy. And we are, of course, using a very high-end privacy preserving machine learning algorithm for anomaly detection in beyond 5G networks, because our goal here, our ambition is one of our ambition here is to have a framework that can be integrated to some extent in commercial grade products. So preserving privacy of communications in the scope of anomaly detection was one of the key fundamental requirements of the project. We are now testing E2E multi-domain slicing over 6G networks. So this is release 17 of the 3GPP standard and beyond, through a zero-touch network management platform. We are testing the adaptation and actually running of various we call them DApps, distributed federated apps, across multiple domains. And our end goal here is to test that each of the functional components of this platform can be integrated in a near real life scenario, actually more than one near real life scenario, and then push that innovation through standardization to a set of commercially viable best practices. I know it's probably a lot to take in, and I've said a lot of words that should mean something to the better part of the audience, I hope. It was my slides and my presentation. I hope that I managed to reach my end goal here, and the end goal being that there is a lot of research happening in this new paradigm of continuum of multi-domain integrations centered around cloud deployments. And there are some great companies and great people doing the research and pushing the results to actual innovation, actual technical innovation. Thank you. I'm not sure how to go about the Q&A. If there are any questions, I guess I can answer a few. I can answer any questions now, or should we wait for the end of the session?
So if anyone has any questions, you can raise your hand or you can write in the chat. I can say that I found the presentation very interesting. I was not aware about the multiple research projects in which your company is included. Very interesting work.
Thank you. Yes, we
anyhow,
I mean, interesting, it's impressive.
yes, anyhow, Orange is one of the most important providers, cloud providers for Romania, and it's well known, this aspect. If no questions at all, please allow me to introduce another friend of us, really close Daniel Barbu, Security Director of Adobe. Daniel, you are really quickly. The floor is yours. Please.
Absolutely.
Please proceed.
Please let me know whether you're able to see the screen.
Just make it full screen, please.
All right. Let's see, play from start. Is it full screen now?
Yes.
Perfect. I will apologize. I'm not able to see the group since it is full screen. So I'll make it short and sweet, and let's make a commitment. If you have any additional questions or comments, let's stay connected on LinkedIn and reach out, please. I'm super grateful for having a CSA community in chapter in Romania, at least for one reason. When Larissa reached out to me, I was actually in the midst of reading the CSA guide, and I'm currently at 59%, so still going on there. So I was very happy to see that. Well, I wanted to do the presentation and not necessarily represent Adobe. I'm actually representing, I feel, the community. Interestingly enough, I'm right now in Dublin. Earlier today, I presented at ISACA, who I know is a strong partner of the CSA. And I've also been speaking to some of the magazines in the UK. So I think that this is also a matter of taking the security community in Romania to the next level, tackling also the cloud aspect of it. And it's a nice partnership. This presentation was a nice partnership between academia, industry, and community as well. So I'll just summarize the cloud security SWOT, strengths, weaknesses, objectives, and threats from my perspective. This is more of an invitation, and I'll be very fast. This is more of an invitation to take those strengths and opportunities further by leveraging the CSA chapter in Romania, and also take those weaknesses and threats and tackle them as a group and as a community. I would just run literally through the strengths, in my opinion. So I've been working with the cloud probably for the past at least 10 years, various shapes and forms, various sizes of it, all the main players at the same time or separate. So I feel that the main strengths of the cloud, especially on the security aspect of it, are scalability, because of course cloud platforms are allow for easy scalability, automation, because of the tools that often offer robust automation capabilities, resource monitoring by real-time monitoring, and especially auditing tools, patch management as cloud service providers regularly update the services, reducing the burden of the organizations to do it themselves. And then also the cloud, especially on the security aspect, it offers a global footprint by having global presence, enhancing especially the disaster recovery and redundancy capabilities. Well, on the weaknesses side, right? And these are the ones that we need to speak about and tackle. I feel that the shared responsibility model is something that we need to pay very close attention to, because confusion can arise due to shared responsibility aspect of it. Also, from the data privacy concerns piece of point of view, compliance and data privacy issues can be challenging, especially with international regulations, at least GDPR. That's just one example. And then vendor lock-in, over-reliance on a single cloud provider can definitely result in vendor lock-in. Skills gap. Earlier today at ISACA, I talked about the skills gap in cybersecurity. I think that the cloud security aspects of it also adds another layer of complexity. So finding and retaining skilled cloud security professionals can be difficult. And then the distributed attack surface, right? The distributed nature of the cloud can increase the attack surface and also its complexity. But of course, there are also a lot of opportunities. And the presentations, for example, the one from Orange that Ioan made, it's a very good example of how cloud can enable a lot of opportunities. I'm thinking of security innovation through rapid technological advancement. I'm thinking about compliance solutions. I'm thinking about the zero trust. We spoke about it earlier, right? I won't deep dive into it. But I'm also thinking about the collaborative aspect of security by sharing threat intelligence and security best practices among organizations and in the cloud ecosystem, right? I'm also thinking about the hybrid aspect of the cloud, because developing strategies and tools to secure hybrid and multi-cloud environments can be a huge opportunity that we need to think about. From a threat perspective, there is no secret that we have a lot of cybersecurity threats in the cloud environment, and those are evolving. I'm not even going to go into the APTs and stuff like that. Data breaches, especially high profile ones that can erode trust, compliance changes because of frequent changes in data protection regulations and so on, but also resource misconfigurations that still remain a common cause of security incidents in the cloud. And then lastly, or at least from my perspective, I try to do like a top 5 for each of them. I would say third-party risks. I'm thinking about supply chain. I'm thinking about security vulnerabilities in third-party application and services. Those can have a significant impact in security. So as promised, short and sweet. I'm looking forward to hearing your feedback. I'm looking forward to connecting on LinkedIn and hear your questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Daniel. Really briefly, if somebody has questions for Daniel, any type regarding the subjects, for sure, just raise your hand. In this case, if are no questions for Daniel, anybody who wants to say anything, wants to improve, wants to share the own thoughts or from own experience, again, don't hesitate to add and to share with us.
I would also want.
Please,
I just want to add one thing. Thank you so much for driving this, the CSA chapter. Thank you for doing it. You're the forward thinkers that we need in the community and the industry to make things happen.
Thank you so much, Daniel, and thank you, all of you, because the community, it's mean us, all of us, not just Mircea, Larissa, Victor, Cătălin, Oana, Alex, Darius, and Graciela. Sure, it's mean all of us. We can do, hope to do, and try to do the best for the cloud community. If Larissa or Graciela, Victor wants to say something.
I can say
Please.
a few closing remarks, let's say, few words. So thank you for joining this, let's say, first event of the CSA Romania chapter. We hope to see you in the future events and hope to also get to know you better in various forms of participating in white papers or as speakers in other events or any other form of cooperation. If you have any suggestions on the way how we should enhance the community, and if you want to participate, do give us a ring, email, LinkedIn, or any form of communication, and we'll reach out to you.
Yes, because any initiative will be posted on LinkedIn and Twitter, and you'll know in proper time about anything. Graciela, if you are still connected. If not, perhaps Daniel or Linda wants to say something.
I could say some final words. At least thank you very much to be part of that. I wish you good luck. You have a lot of things you can do, and really think that we have at least the global community. And on the other hand, I just do that one, not only a global community, but that we also encourage you to look at your local needs and then see how we can fit that together. And we are always happy to help you in any questions. So congratulations, good luck. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Linda. We will invite all cloud providers to join us, to join our community, and not only cybersecurities and IT enthusiasts, and do not forget about young people, which has really amazing abilities and can manage many tools, perhaps better than an experienced expert, let's say like this. So thank you all of you for participation. Thank you that you were next to us, together with us, and hope to see you again in the close future. Thank you all of you.
Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
and good luck.
Thank
My
you very
best
much.
wishes.
Thank you. Bye
Bye
bye.
bye. Bye.